Thank you so much for being here today with us. I know it's early morning, we had an eventful day one, and here you are. So thanks a lot for being here. To get started with, I would love to introduce myself. I'm Akshita Sawan, developer advocate, and I'm focusing mainly on the MuleSoft side, MuleSoft evangelism. With me, we have co-speaker, Joshua Burke. He's a senior director, admin evangelism. I'm sure you must have know him already. With that, let's get started. And let's straight dive into agents, Agentforce, and everything we are here to learn about. So, we are actually truly you must have already seen and heard about agents before, Agentforce before yesterday, because Dreamforce has all been about Agentforce, agents. But for you all to get started, what exactly are agents? But before that, you must be aware as well that we are truly in a AI revolution phase. Right from chatbots that were rigid and quite stable, programmatically fixed, to co-pilots, which is smart, and from there to agents, we have come a long way across. With that, what exactly is an agent, what it does, and why do we say that it's a new software paradigm? So the agents has evolved, and how do the agents comes into picture? So that's because of the LLMs. LLMs can do their job, but when it comes to LLMs and AI, so there are some limitations. Limitations like with the help of LLMs, you actually cannot access the private data. There are issues around security, about accessing your private data. And the most importantly, LLM cannot take actions on your behalf. They can only fetch what is fed to them, or maybe the information that is available to them publicly. But when it comes to customization or accessing your customer data, your employee data, your internal data, that's where you cannot rely completely on LLM, and that's where agents come into picture. And this also brings us a new software paradigm. So what is exactly an agent? It's actually building the gap between LLM and our realistic use cases. So an agent would be it's actually revolutionizing how we have been building our software. So traditionally, we have been going with something that is a full software approach, or maybe a holistic, what we call it as, we have been building a software as a whole block. But now with agents, we're actually starting with the granular level, building several agents, and then combining it together. This particular agents, they also focus on a particular topic, which would be like an action, which would be taking a particular action as per desired, as per our use cases. And all of these several actions will be combining into topics. So I will absolutely, me and Joshua will be digging into topics, actions, and everything further in our demo as well today. But let's get started with the basic terminologies. And to top up with that, agents are actually been leveraging the Salesforce's security, the trust layer, Einstein's enterprise trust layer security. And not just that, agents have been orchestrating on the enterprise data that has been grounded to them. So they also have the knowledge about all the Salesforce CRM data that has been provided to them. And agents are also bounded by guardrails. So what do we mean by guardrails? They are the protection or the limitations that we have been bounded to agents. So there is not much hallucinations. And also that they have been secure. They are also following the security best practices. They have been doing what is under the guidelines. With that, you would wonder what difference does it make between a software or chatbot and an agent? So to be honest, we all have experience working with a chatbot, or maybe using chatbot at several sites, different shipments, things. We all have actually interacted with a chatbot, and we know that they're really dumb. And we're actually eager to speak to a customer agent while we are working with a chatbot. So let me give you an example. So if you're working with a chatbot, or if you have to return an order or exchange an order, so a chatbot can max give you an information about the order details, or if it is eligible to return or exchange or not. But that's all. It won't take an action for you. It won't actually go ahead and make a return statement, or it won't do the task for you. For that, it will actually connect you with a human agent. And that's what makes it different with an autonomous agent coming into the picture, because that is actually having the capability to take an action for you. It is going to make the changes. It is actually going to fetch the order details. It is going to ask you the relevant questions, and further go ahead and take the actions for you to cancel or return or exchange the order for you. With that, how do these agents differ from bot? So definitely they are based on the natural language instructions. More instructions you feed to the agent, the better they're going to perform. They're going to be like coming up with, they're going to ask you relevant questions. They're going to stick to the context and get more information for you in order to serve you better. It's also based on the AI reasoning engine. It's going to get the data that has been already grounded to the agent in contrast to what we have with chatbots. So with chatbots, it was like quite limited, and whatever is programmatically fed into chatbots, the instructions, the algorithm, it was quite limited to it, but that's not the case with agents. It's autonomous, it's going to fetch you the information from the LLMs, from the data cloud, from your CRM sources, from everything that you fed into it with proper instructions. And just that, you can also train your agents manually and with minimal training as well. And it takes into picture the enterprise security, the AI Einstein trust layer, and make sure that the company's data is protected with it. Going ahead, let us see like what are the 5 attributes of an agent, what makes the agent autonomous, secure, capable, and robust. The first one, role. So the first one is role, like what role is. So it actually defines what your agent should be doing, what an agent's particular task is, what is the complete, what you would say, what the agent should be achieving. So the role should be defined correctly so you can get the best out of your agent. The second one, trusted data. So trusted data is more important when you're working with your agent. So this could be coming from multiple sources. It could be your data cloud, it could be your CRM sources, it could be your your web searches, or your company's private information, metadata. And you have to also ensure that the data that is coming here is, as we are saying, it's trusted data. It is bounded by the Salesforce, the Einstein security layer as well. The next thing is actions. And this is so important, like we have already seen during the Copilot thing as well, like we have seen the actions that were out of the box actions, or the custom actions that we have built, the standard and the out of the box actions. So actions are like predefined tasks that tells an agent what it has to be done. And this could be quite atomic, like if you're talking about a particular action, like it could be something fetching an information with the help of an API, invoking a particular flow that is about your order details or order information. So each of these will be like quite atomic, and it's a particular action. So it's one single atomic action that's responsible for doing a particular job for your agent. And that further leads to the next action, which is guardrail. So guardrails are like, as the name suggests, they're actually making sure that how your agent should be behaving, how it should be like bounded by some rules, limitations, security policies, the data masking and everything. So your agent doesn't go out of the way and hallucinates or behave like in a weird way to give you all the spooky results, I would say. With that, let's go ahead with the last one, that is channels. So channel is the last pillar of the agent's capability, which is like where your agent and how your agent should be like interacting with, what are the sources, how your agent should be. It could be something like a digital channel, a Slack, basically a trigger point where you can interact with your agents. It could be also your CRM application. Okay. And the next one, sorry, Agentforce. So I'm sure you must have seen this slide. Oopsie. Yeah. Let me get ahead behind. Okay. This is weird. I'm sorry. So yeah, the Agentforce. What exactly is Agentforce? Because we have already seen what is agent. So what is exactly Agentforce? Agentforce is what drives like human and AI together with the help of agent. It actually provides a platform to build your agents, to customize your agent, to scale your agents. They provide tools and capabilities for your agents. And now we are going to see what are the Agentforce capabilities. This is very slow. So what are the fundamental building blocks of an Agentforce? We have already seen previously what are the capabilities of the agent, what are the pillars of agents. Now we are seeing what are the building blocks of agents. And here are the 3 of them, like topics, instructions, and actions. And I think with this, I would actually like to go in a reverse order because, as I mentioned previously, action is the most atomic one. Let's first go into action. So first, you're going to create an action, which we'll see in the demo as well, how to create an action. So it could be something singular or atomic, like looking up your order status, fetching up the information, your order details. And there could be several actions that you're clubbing together and grouping them to form a topic. So this is something new. With Copilot, we just had created actions, and that's all. But now it makes more sense to create topic because you are actually clubbing a lot of relevant actions into one to give you a meaningful results. For example, you can take an order management system. So when you're talking about an order management system, there could be several singular actions, something like fetching the order details, updating the order details, or fetching the user information, updating what activities it can do with the particular order. So all these things are singular actions, and they are clubbing into a proper topic, which could be an order management topic. And the next one, the middle part, is instructions. So the more instructions you feed into the system, the better results it's going to give you, the better output. So as much as information you're giving to the agent, as much as reasoning and the instructions, the guardrails you give, the better results you get. With that, let's see how Agentforce actually works. So here in the, towards the extreme left, you can see there are some like triggers. So we can initiate a conversation with your agent over Slack, over CRM application, mobile web services, which will further lead to a query or question. Basically, it could be something simple like, what is the status of my order? And it's going to fetch in this information, it's going to extract the information, it's going to feed into the LLM system, and going to ask you more relevant questions. Despite, like, if you would have worked in a similar way with the chatbot, what it would have done is, it would have given you a basic, simple answer, but with LLM, with agents, it's going to ask you more relevant questions. Like, firstly, what is your email address? What is your employee address? Give me the order shipment number. And based on that, it's going to actually fetch all the information about your order. It's going to give you a proper statistics and then what you should be doing with the order. And to get this results as well, it's going through some set of like topics, actions, and it's going to select a particular topic that will be relevant to your query. It's going to take it's going to execute particular actions that are based on the topic, and further select the chain of actions and give you the output. So this is overall how Agentforce and agent works. With this, I would hand it over to Joshua, and you can take it ahead with the demo today.
Excuse me a second.
Oh, it's okay.
Hi. Thank you, Akshata, for that wonderful overview and introduction. Let's dive a little bit deeper, and we're going to be talking specifically about the tools that we're going to use to actually build out the agent. And for that, we have our friend Agent Builder. And Agent Builder is your tool to organize your topics and your actions, to interact with your agents, and then to also debug to see what it's actually doing. And in order to do this, we can build out custom actions. Custom actions can be enhanced with flows. They can be enhanced with prompt templates. They can be enhanced with Apex. And as Akshata is going to show you in a little bit, they can also be extended using MuleSoft. Now, actually, possibly one of the most important parts of this little slide here, since you are here at Dreamforce, sorry for people at Salesforce Plus, but please take advantage of the fact that we have the Agentforce Launchpad here. That is a place that you're going to be able to get hands-on with experts and actually try this stuff out for yourself in a very easy way. Now, before we dive into an org, I just want to do a quick overview because Agent Builder has a very interesting interface to it. And so as we're walking through it, I just kind of want to give you a couple of navigational points for it. We start over here on the left, where we can configure our topics and our actions. And our topics are going to define the agent in a very broad sense, and the actions are going to give it its library of things that it can do in order to answer the question. Remember, the real power of an agent is that it's non-deterministic. It doesn't necessarily know exactly how it's going to answer that question until it starts to do so. And it starts to look at either the standard actions that come out of the box or the custom actions that you give it in order to provide a response. Now, before you go into production, before you put eyeballs in front of this, you want to be able to see how is this agent going to predictably react. And so we give you a interactive conversational pane here where you can interact directly with the agent Give it questions, give it different kinds of questions, give it different tones of questions, and see how is that going to change the outcome. Because once again, it's not a chatbot. You don't necessarily have a tree that you can walk down and determine right away exactly how it's going to work. But, and this is my favorite part, what we do is we give you insight into the brain of the agent itself. So as it's processing through those actions and it's deciding which actions it's going to use, a standard action or a custom action, the pane in the middle is going to walk you through how it's chaining those together in order to provide a solution. All right, let's go to an org and see this in action. Okay, so in setup, under agents, we see that we have two agents here. We have our original Einstein Copilot, we have a Coral Cloud agent. Now, the big distinction here really is where is that channel? Remember, Akshata was talking about channels. Now, Agentforce allows us to expose these through external channels. So our Einstein Copilot is channeled through Salesforce, so it's in our internal agent. However, Coral Clouds can be exposed through a digital experience. It can be put in through Experience Cloud, and that allows your customers to actually be able to interact with it. So let's jump into that one. Pull him up into Builder. And here we have our agent builder interface. Now we have our reward topic, our reward management topic here. And this is going to allow us to have the topic of the agent being defined. And so we give it a name, and we also give it a description. Now, the description is interesting because it's very important for AIs to be able to have metadata, to be able to have context. So I know we're all used to description fields and help text fields and all of these things. We know that's a good practice to put into our custom fields and our custom objects. It's actually very, very important when it comes to AI to be able to give them as much information as possible. So the metadata that you put here on the topic, the metadata you put on your custom objects, the metadata you put on your custom fields, that's all context that the agent can then use to say, oh, my user mentioned an experience. I'm going to go to the experience custom object and see if that is the kind of thing that they're going to retrieve. We also have our scope, and the scope really kind of defines that role that we are talking about. It allows it to give itself, are you customer facing? Are you support facing? Like what kind of agent, when you are talking to a human being, what kind of agent are you impersonating as a human? And then finally, when we're talking about guardrails, you can give it a set of instructions. And set of instructions can be very, very specific. So for instance, going back to that custom object example, we can say, hey, if you see them mention experience, they're probably going to go refer to experience _C. And you help the agent actually kind of tie those things together. So now let's see the topic's actions. And I am going to have to flip over to your org, sorry.
Oh yeah, sure.
Which
it's, you can just scroll it a bit further. Yep. Give me a minute, sorry. It's over here.
Okay. Yes. There we go. Okay, if I flip over to this topic's actions, this is the library of actions that is going to be able to use to compose the answer to the user. We have a few here that are standard and out of the box, and these are very basic actions to be performed on the platform. These are things like querying a record or finding a record by ID. The basic things that when you're doing any kind of logic about either finding or manipulating data on the platform, you're going to use. And this means that as a developer or an admin, you don't have to redefine those over and over and over and over again. Agentforce is going to do that for you. But what you can do in this, bring it down to custom actions. Once again, custom actions can be enhanced through Apex, they can be enhanced through flows, and they can be enhanced through prompt templates. We're going to see a little bit of all three of those. And so I'm going to look at these two here, and we're going to start with the generate personalized schedule. But once again, I don't have to trigger that manually in any way. I'm just going to say, can you find experiences I might like? And I'm going to warn you right now, this is actually not going to work, and I'll explain why in here in a second. But you can see it's analyzing the request. It's figuring out the steps, so this is where it's organizing the actions that it's going to take. And then it says that it's actually missing a parameter. It doesn't know what contact that's actually trying to look for. Now, remember, if we expose this through Experience Cloud, the user's not going to see any of this. They're going to see the nice, friendly customer interface here where it's saying, hey, please, I actually need a little bit more information from you. Could you tell me who you are? So I'm going to say, I am Sophia Rodriguez. Hopefully I'm spelling, that's not her correct name, sorry. It might do it. This is the magic of AI. Sometimes you're just not sure what you're going to get. Also, it pauses dramatically all the time. There we go.
Yep.
So now the interesting thing here is behind the scenes, our contacts actually have been extended out with custom fields, and those custom fields have been extended to say, these are my interests. So this is actually a filtered list of events happening at Coral Clouds Resort, specifically that we think Sophia might like based on the interest that she has already told us. So you can see how powerful that could be if she is on her phone or she's on the Coral Cloud site and she just wants to see what she might be able to do that morning. So let's take it one step further, and we're going to say, can you book me for the beach yoga retreat? Now, notice here, I didn't have to retell it who I am, right? We have already resolved the question, which contact is the agent talking to? And because we're in a conversational UI, it will maintain that context until it has a reason not to. And so, great. Can I get booking for beach yoga
retreat?
Usually when it takes this long, it means it's working correctly.
Yeah.
But while it's doing that, note that if we were using a normal chatbot, right, and we've all been there, you've been on the phone with customer support, you're talking to a robot, and you get in that dark corner and the robot doesn't know how to help you, it also doesn't know how to ask for more help.
Yep.
And here we go. So this is the long version of the booking interface. But we're now in the booking interface where she's going to be able to book her beach yoga retreat. If this was a chatbot, she would be stuck in a fail state. She'd be that person pressing 00000, hoping to get a human. By the way, that trick doesn't work anymore, which really annoys me. But anyway, more to the point, this middle part here, now, if we have to go back and be like, well, why didn't you find that information? Why did you get in that fail state? When did you find that information? You can walk all the way back and say, here's the original user prompt. That took to my experience management, and it's going to go through and tell you exactly which topics it's using, which actions it's using. This is a standard action. It's just querying records that it knows we're going to need to know, and then moving into whatever custom actions we have. Now let's look at some of those custom actions. It is. So the second day of Dreamforce. Okay. Thankfully, I don't know what that was about. This is what I wanted to show you. So when we're setting up an agent, we're setting up a custom agent, you're basically just creating a bridge between whatever you're using, Apex or Flow or a prompt template, and then defining how the agent is going to go through the input and the output of it. And so here we're saying, this is the information I need, the contact, et cetera, and then this is the information that I'm going to send out. So now let's look in Flow and see what that actually looks like. Implementation. Oh. So how many Flownatics in the room? Awesome. You are going to notice, what does this look like? It looks like the flow you already know how to do. Okay, there's nothing wildly special about it. It is an auto launch flow. Those inputs that we need are going to be based on what we're doing here, and the outputs that we're going to give them are what we put here. It is the exact same kind of logic that you would use in a normal flow. The other thing I want to point out is this isn't a terribly long or complicated flow. And I was having a conversation with the great queen of automation, Jen Lee herself, and we were basically coming up with the fact that this is common. This is what we're seeing. It doesn't take long, complicated flows to point from point A to point B to get the prompt or the agent to do what you need. We are usually seeing somewhere between 3 to 7 components within the flow in order to get it going. So not only do you already have the skills to build out these agents, you don't have to get into deep convoluted loops or any special new components or anything like that. Now let's go to our other one. And we're going to go to our prompts. And we're going to look at how it generated that personalized schedule. Now, here in Prompt Builder, it gives us the ability to format very specifically how we want the agent to respond. You're going to get a bunch of data. I want that data to be bulleted. I want you to highlight these things. I want you to be concise. I want you to be formal, et cetera, et cetera. It allows you to have a conversation with how raw data is then going to be displayed on the page. But the nifty part about this is we get to jump over in Apex, because one of the things that you can do in Prompt Builder is use Apex as a data source. So what does that Apex look like? Well, going back to our slides, which is
right there.
This guy. It is the same kind of invocable Apex that you're already used to. If you're used to writing Apex that's going to be interacting with Flow, congratulations, you're an AI coder. That's the exact same kind of structure. We've got our invocable method, it's going to expose it, and then if we look at our variables, we've got our invocable variable. That allows us to put, remember on the agent, is this required? What is the description? We can actually pre-fill that right here, and Bob's your uncle. You have now programmatically coded an agent. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Akshata to show some cool stuff with MuleSoft.
That's an amazing demo. So, how many here you have already used MuleSoft APIs or any other APIs in general? Integrated with Salesforce? That's a good number, actually. So we are not going to see like how we extend our APIs and connect it with agents. So what I have here is, let me go back. So I already have created a MuleSoft API. I've designed an API. I've deployed it on Cloud Hub, the MuleSoft's native cloud, and basically build an application deployed on Cloud Hub. And this is how that API looks like. So if I just hit the send, trigger the API endpoint, I'm going to get the output. So what this API is, this is a reward-based system API that I was talking about previously as well. Based on a particular ID, a reward ID, it could be any ID, it's going to fetch me the reward points. So that's randomly generated as well. So this is a Mule API, but you could be having any other random API which is hosted on any other platform, and not necessarily a Mule API, and you can still integrate that with Salesforce into Agentforce and get started. So how are you doing it? So in order to integrate your agent, let me get out of the agent builder. So there are a series of steps that you need to do. Firstly, I have configured the name credentials, wherein I have listed down the URL, the endpoint, the API endpoint URL. Secondly, using the external services, I have imported my MuleSoft API. Let me go into external service, and here you have options to actually add in all the MuleSoft API. So you get an option to get an API specification, get an API which could be like any other random API, or you get amazing, beautiful UI services if you're using a Mule API. So as my APIs, they were hosted on MuleSoft's Anypoint platform, Anypoint Exchange. I have been using the second method, the reroute to MuleSoft services and confirm, and here I can get the list of APIs to import. So if you see on the import option, I can see all the APIs that I could import, but I have already imported one API, which was like the reward-based system API. Yeah, and you can see it over here, which has all the features. Once you have imported the external services API, you can actually directly, currently we do not have this feature, but we are hoping that it will be in future. You can connect directly external services to the Agentforce agent, create your own actions. But currently we have to go via Flow or via Apex. So for which I'm invoking this API actually via flows, because that is the simplest method, for which I have created auto launch flow, like we have created previously as well. And it's called as a rewards flow. It's a super simple flow, and it is actually invoking external services, and via the external services, it is invoking the Mule API. So if I just debug this flow, it's going to be like similar to the Postman. I have to enter a reward ID, and it is going to give me the response as a reward points. And behind the scenes, it's actually calling my MuleSoft API. But mind you, it could be any of the API that you have and you want to invoke. Once this is done, we'll follow the traditional method, and we'll go ahead and we'll create our own actions with agents, for which I'll have to go into Agentforce, the agent actions. And I have already added the reward flow as a new agent action. And I've made sure that I feed in proper information, all the instructions. I'm passing the reward ID as an input parameter and the reward points as an output parameter. So everything has been configured here. Once I'm done with this, I'll go ahead and I'll add my action, the one that I've added now as a rewards API, to my Coral Cloud agent. And I have added the list of action. I've not just added the reward flow, but I've also added the other standard actions to support my topic. So my topic here is reward management, and for which I have listed down several atomic actions, out of which the only custom action I created was reward flow. The rest of them were like standard actions. So let's go ahead in the builder, the agent builder, and see how this thing works. So I'm going to ask, and have made sure I've listed down all the instructions, the guardrails, that it should be like, let's go ahead and see how it works actually. So I'll be asking, can I get the reward points? So let's see how it answers. That was quick. So I have made sure to add the instruction that we need to pass a reward ID in order to get the reward points. So I'm going to give it some reward ID. And based on the reward ID, it's actually going to perform the reasoning, the logic. It's going to select the topic, similar topic as reward management, because that is the one topic that I've passed, but you could be having like multiple topics as well. And it has actually gone through several actions. It has picked up the action. It has invoked the Mule API and fetched reward points for me. I can further go ahead and say that based on the reward points, can you suggest me some activity? Okay. So basically, it's actually like making sure that it's going back, it's going through all the topics, going through all the actions, and selecting the best one and giving you the output. And not just that, it can also take actions for you. If I say that, can you link this reward points to my profile, and that's going to be like updated to Sophia. So you get the gist, right? Like how Agentforce work, and this is just one API which is doing a very simple feature of getting a reward points. But the scope of API could be extended. You can do several operations that could be like taking your agents or taking your Agentforce overall to a next level. So let's see the last one. It could be like, can you link my profile? Can you link my profile to reward points? Can you link reward points to my profile? Okay. To my profile, and I hope the name is Sophia. So it's going to fetch the information around the profile. Okay. Yeah, it is analyzing the request and giving the information, but this is the overall gist, how you can extend your agents with flow prompts and with Apex code, with APIs. So yeah, here are some activities. It's actually going into the loop, but yeah, it works. Going ahead with the next part, which would be just a rewrap. So today what we have seen what are agents. So they are autonomous, how they work, how they provide a new software paradigm, and what are the attributes of agents, the roles, trusted data, actions, guardrails, and channels. We have also seen how to build the agents, how to build your custom agents with the help of Agent Builder, extended with the help of flows, prompt, templates, Apex classes, and also with the APIs. And yeah, I think that's actually pretty much covering the Agentforce topic for the developers for you to get started. I would highly recommend you checking out the Agentforce area where you can get your hands on the Agentforce. You can try by yourself. You can get to know more about it. You can experiment as well with different prompts and see what works for you. What works with the Agentforce, how it behaves, and everything. I have also listed down a few resources that could be like helpful for you to get started with Agentforce on your AI journey, to help you get with your AI certifications as well. So you can go through them. And with that, we are done. I'm sorry, if you want to take a picture, yeah, it's still available. Great. Thank you so much.